If you love the thrill of racing but hate the risks, then buckle up. Everything Simulated is here to merge adrenaline with absolute safety. In a world where technology meets adrenaline, Everything Simulated is revolutionizing driver training with state-of-the-art simulators. From truck training to the thrill of motorsports, our simulators offer the most realistic experiences across all automotive applications. Gone are the days of endless bookwork and basic drills. Now it's all about hands-on, pulse-pounding action that prepares you for the real deal. Whether you're maneuvering a heavy mining vehicle or racing a high-speed car, our simulators, equipped with cutting-edge technology from leaders like SimRigs and TrackRacer, bring every nuance of the drive to life. And talk about making a mark. We're not just building simulators, we're fostering talent. From grassroots motorsports to professional series like the Aussie Outlaw GT3, sponsored by us, Everything Simulated is fueling dreams and careers. Ready to feel the excitement of the racetrack under your fingertips? Connect with us, and let's build your next simulator adventure together. Remember, we support those who support us. Join the Everything Simulated family, and let's race towards the future.
Hello everybody and welcome to Virginia International Raceway for the first round in a new season at the Formula Drivers League. This is the Everything Simulated Formula Ford Recruitment Series here in the month of September. 4 rounds to set up the new season coming up in October as we sort of bridge the gap between the two. Last week the Super Formula Lights and F4 Championships came to a close with Mark Hilly winning in the Super Formulas and Benjamin Roberts taking the first ever F4 Championship in 2025. It's good to be back again with another series, bridging the gap between those two before we have our final one of 2025. We're on the slightly shortened north course today, 2.2 miles, 3.6 kilometres in length, turning right just after what is traditionally on this circuit, the first sector, and going into what's a bit of an infield really around here at VIR before rejoining the circuit back where the roller coaster section all the way up towards the end of the back straight normally is, and then coming down through the final corners as normal. It's myself, Ian O'Leary, and Rhys Gardner in commentary here tonight with Jared Cole behind the cameras of this broadcast. Good to be alongside you for this one, Rhys. First thing to say, I think, is about this series altogether. It's Formula Fords, it's a couple of American circuits followed by Open Park and Navarra, although all fairly short circuits in their way as well, because this is a very low-powered car, but that's not an insult. It should provide good racing as a result.
Yeah, certainly should. Good to share a commentary box with you once again, Ewan, and hello to all the viewers. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. The Formula Ford, I've commentated a few broadcasted races in this car, and it has been an absolute hoot every time. You know, these things have treaded tires, 0 downforce, just enough power to make them slide through the corners. It's going to be an epic little recruitment series here for the Formula Drivers League. Free entry, so anyone can join if they so desire. It's brought in an absolute bumper field. We have got 34 drivers in the server at the moment getting ready to set their times for the grid, but we have plenty of drivers also returning from the previous Formula 4 and Super Formula Light series, as you mentioned.
We certainly do. I've already seen Jackson Rihanna, who was runner-up to Mark Hilly in the Super Formula Light Championship, and indeed Hilly's here as well. I've just spotted he's just slotted himself into 7th in this qualifying session as things stand. So yeah, plenty of drivers from those 2 seasons to tell you about. Of course, Scott Bartine, the champion of the season before last, is here as well. Not with the number 1 on his car anymore after finishing quite lowly, unfortunately, in his championship defending season. Got himself up to 11th by the end of it, but had a disastrous start to that campaign. But he is back again. As I say, the circuits as follows: VIR North, followed by Summit Point next week. Then we go over to Europe for the second half of the season. The Oulton Park Foster's layout, which is the shortest of the short layouts there, and Navarra Medium layout, which is our finale on the final week of the season. This layout of VIR, Reece, I think does encapsulate the style of the long VIR circuit, just in a circuit that's going to take a reasonable amount of time for these very slow cars.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, this track sort of chops off the southern portion of the circuit through those flat-out S's up to Oak Tree and back down Madison Avenue. We don't use that for this particular layout. These drivers are tipping their way into turns 1 and 2 at the moment, but as we follow along here with Jackson Rihanna in qualifying, you'll see him turn up into the infield of the track, and it's a section that certainly provides a challenge. In cars with about as much power as this, but a bit of downforce on hand, it's pretty much flat out through that section. I'm not sure exactly how the Formula Ford is going to take it, but keep an eye here under the bridge. He's going to stick to the left and then jump on the brakes for this incredible uphill corner, and pretty much every apex is blind through this section. It will likely be follow the leader during the race, because it is one line fits all. You go side by side through this section, you are going to get passed by someone else.
And lose a lot of time as well. And the other danger with going side by side, of course, in these cars, which it is, as I'm sure you will have noticed from watching these cars in the past, and maybe everybody watching this will have experienced while driving this car as well, if you're an iRacing member, wheel-to-wheel contact is not really tolerated in these cars, to be honest. You'll be in a lot of trouble if there is, and they're surprisingly wide. I'm always surprised how wide they are when I get into it anyway. It's quite it can be quite difficult to go side by side anywhere when the consequences for contact are so big.
Yeah, indeed. You can get pretty close side by side with these things, up to the point where you're sort of interlocking wheels if your front axle is behind the other guy's front axle. But yeah, these things are basically oversized go-karts, aren't they? Traditionally, Formula Ford is sort of the next step up for drivers wanting to make their mark in the international open wheels scene. You start off in go-karts and then you go up to Formula Ford, then, Formula 4, F3, F2, F1, etc. But yeah, these things have their weight low slung to the ground. Problem for Brett McBurney, showing just how bouncy these cars are. My God, that is a massive incident. Okay, so hopefully we don't see too much more of that in the race session, because it seems like any mistake, even if you brush the tyre barriers, can be absolutely devastating.
Oh yeah, it's like bouncing off a trampoline there, isn't it? Down at the at turn 4, straight back onto the circuit and in the way. Now, you will have seen a race control message exchange up top, which is maybe a bit unfamiliar if you've been following the Formula Drivers League, either F4 or Super Formula Lights Championship in the past. It's because we've got a slightly new procedure a totally new procedure for qualifying impeding. In fact, before it meant you had to start from the pit lane, and we do see that plenty of times throughout almost every qualifying session. Somebody's impeded somebody else, and it means they have to start from the pit lane. Now, that's not the case anymore. The penalty is now a 10-second post-race penalty to any driver that is found to be qualifying impeding. As you will have seen at the top of your screen, the 038 of Brett McBurney, who is currently on pole, by the way, 28.9, has got one of those and did get one of those in a couple of moments ago. However, you will have seen after that post-race review come up on the screen as well. The drivers do have the option to say to race control, I don't agree with you, and I have a feeling that might happen a lot, and they can post-race review it so that 10-second penalty is then either applied or not, depending on what the result of that race control investigation is. But a slightly different way of working things, because after all, if it's found to be an erroneously awarded penalty and you've already started from the pit lane, the damage is already done, and this way we can make sure that maybe that's reversed by the end of the race, if indeed race control have second thoughts and decide that qualifying impeding was not the case. But I wonder whether we saw Brett McBurney's qualifying impeding incident, whether that was it when he had that crash through turn 4. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Hopefully he takes to the grid. He's lost pole in any case. Daniel McCrohan's just taken it by 0.3 of a second right at the end of the session. Another new thing that's been brought in for this recruitment series is the virtual safety car. Basically, they work the same as a normal safety car, which would have been used in the previous seasons at Formula Drivers League. But yeah, basically there is no safety car on track. The leader becomes the safety car. And we have been told that if a situation requiring a VSC doesn't occur naturally, one will be called at the 20-minute mark of this 30-minute race, which is after drivers should all be expected to have completed their enforced pit stops for fuel. So let's see how that one works out. We are likely going to be seeing the action broken up at least once tonight.
Yeah, we certainly are. Just to remind you again, for those who haven't been here before or have forgotten, this series doesn't have a fuel cap in these one-stop races. We have seen two-stop races for 45-minute races in both series, actually, last season. But no fuel cap in this series, so despite the fact that the starting fuel will only get you just over halfway, you can pit from lap 1 and get yourself out of traffic straight away. We'll see how many drivers decide to do that. It always seems to be well, I'm a little bit torn anyway, the way I think about it, how you want to do this race. Do you want to stay with the group, stay in the draft and all that kind of thing, or do you want to pit in early and get out of the traffic? It's always the debate that we have in these races where you can pit from lap 1.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, you got the start-finish straight. That's a great slipstream opportunity. But as we mentioned, that back section, the shortcut that makes this layout what it is basically impossible to pass in that section. So you pit early, you come out in traffic, you're going to have a whole portion of the lap where you are going to be stuck. So I reckon if you're starting up the front, you try and go as long as you can. Maybe try and do the inverse if you're towards the back.
Absolutely, we'll see that starting grid in a moment here as we come forward into the race. The session's just moving over now, and here is the grid. All 17 rows of it. Daniel McCrohan with that very late lap time takes pole, although draft certainly involved there for Team Max Boost as they got 0.3 in front of Brett McBurney, who we're hearing might not even start this race. Jackson Rihanna and Kane Ryder will be on row 2 ahead of Daniel Ackland and Vorm Ryder. Max Boost cars actually all along that side of the grid. Is Henry Zimmerman as well as on the other side. Mark Killy, our Super Formula X champions, on the other side of the grid. At row 5 is Danny Davison and Michael Scott. Row 6, Marcus Knitska and Scott Bartine, former champion of the Super Formula Light Series. Alexi Watson and Scott Puckup are on row 7, ahead of Angus Mirren and Anthony Bate, who hasn't been here at least for a while. Same for Mitchell Albert and Brodie McConkey. Matt Morris and Hugh McLaughlin round out the top 20. Adrian Loretti and Tom Donahue, league organiser, row 11. Jackie Chung and Joshua Van Treek are on row 12, ahead of Ben Ryder and Matt Tesorio. It's Chris Rodling and Todd Parks on row 14, ahead of Badley Sinney and Ash Williams, running at the top 30. Tristan McLaren will start towards the back with Dennis Hawkins, Patrick Savina, and the rest of them are race control, I think, other than Jacob Fraser, actually, who probably will start. Jimmy Peacock is there. He's race control, though, as you can see. He's out of a job, probably for crashing too often, because it was at least twice in the last couple of seasons that he's crashed the safety car, so he's been sacked, and we've got a virtual safety car, as Reece explained a few moments ago, as the drivers just get themselves onto the grid. They're doing it very quickly, actually, before this race. Only a couple more to grid up, but very noticeable, Reece, that size of the cap on the front row there. It's going to create actually more space for the leaders maybe into turn 1.
Yeah, hopefully it does. We should see some outbraking maneuvers into the first turn for sure. Drivers will be trying to get as many positions as they can before they get into that infield section. But other than that, let's just hope for a clean lap 1 here for the start of this new series with many drivers who may not have raced here yet. Lights going up.
Here we go, half an hour of racing here in the Formula 4 Recruitment Series. We are underway for the first time this season, and it's Daniel McCrohan who leads the field away, and single file pretty much for the top 3 straight away because of that hole on the grid there. In second place, diving down the inside, a couple of looks in the mid-pack, but everybody taking things nice and calmly. Zimmerman looks like he's the only one who's really been shoved off the road, and there's a couple of drivers actually spun to the inside, just cutting across the first corner there, but a clean start for the most part. Maybe Danny Davison was involved with Zimmerman. He's already got a meatball flag.
Yeah, potentially. Matt Morris ran into Zimmerman when he was broadside across the circuit in the middle of the hairpin. So we have a few casualties from lap 1 already, but they form into single file coming through the initial S's, and McCrohan is well in the lead by the time they get to that infield section. Looks like a bit of a battle for second starting to form with Ryder and Ackland catching up to Jackson Rihanna. And I love the snake that you get when you watch cars come through here on the first lap. It's a huge field. We have been blessed with a magnificent number of cars for this first round of the championship, but hey, looks like it is a battle of the runner-ups there. Ryder starting to pile the pressure on Rihanna.
Yeah, 32 just started this race, by the way. A couple of non-starters down towards the back, but a great look at the field here, all the way down. Look at this, down the hill as they come. Meanwhile, Kane Ryder going to come through here. He's going to get teammate slipstream as well. Oh, and on the grass, Ackland tried to follow through on Jackson Rihanna, but didn't have the space to do it. Look at them all, hounding the leader as well. McCrohan, side by side between the teammates. Goodness me, you don't want to see contact here, and then nearly is. Kane Ryder inside line though, and should be getting through with the outside line through 3 and 4. He should get the lead, and does. If Max Boost can give the lead between themselves all race, then they will do, but they're under big pressure here from Rihanna and Ackland, who showed for the first time that slipstream you get down the front straight is massive.
Yeah, it's huge, absolutely huge. Update on Danny Davison. He was the one who unfortunately turned Matt Morris around at the first corner, so I think he might have picked up that meatball damage from that incident. Only light contact, but it ended up going that way anyway. Pass coming into this section here. Angus Milne and Alexei Watson, but they're going to both get balked by Marcus Konitska, who had a huge slide on the way into that section, and now Brodie McConkey and Anthony Bate, the teammates there, are going to bang wheels on their way through the back of that pack. They've just managed to work themselves out by the time they get to roller coaster. Move being made potentially. Konitska there banging wheels with Brodie McConkey, but it looks like the number 23 is just going to get it done into Hogpen.
It's been another great start, by the way, for McConkey, who's very good at this. He's upped into the top 10 already after qualifying in 18th. If he could sort his qualifying out, he'd be, nearly winning races, I reckon. But it's top 10 at the moment for him. And further down in the group, still side by side, Watson and Albert now. Mitchell Albert on the inside going through here on the way towards turn number 1. As the Max Boost entries exchange the lead between themselves at the front again. Albert comes, and a spin in front. Oh, they're all scattered to avoid. Goodness me. Another spinner to the outside as well. McLaughlin, that was, I think, just going off into the grass and nearly going all the way around. In the end, he just lost a few places. It was Konitska who seemed to be in the middle of the road, and it was a good job from everybody, actually, to avoid.
Yeah, very good job indeed. Konitska managed to recover without too much incident. I think he got caught out by Brodie McConkey changing lines into turn 1 ahead of him. Had to check up a little more than he expected. But that's going to happen when you're racing once again for the first time in a season. This is what happened to Konitska. So he actually made contact with another car there. And that just a little bit of a tap there, I think, on the car in front. So good job on everyone to avoid the worst of that. Bit better than we saw on lap 1, but for now, that is your running order up the front. The Max Boost teammates making it work nicely. Bradley Sinney, though, sending another car airborne.
That's Konitska's teammate. Actually thought it was Konitska again, but it wasn't. It's very easy to do that. We've seen that already. If you spin in front of somebody else, you are likely to see them ramp over the top of you, and that was the situation there as they turned right onto the infield section through turn 7. Oh dear, look at that! That's a lap car staying out the way as Jackson Rihanna comes down the inside for the lead. He's going to get ahead of the Max Boost entries as McCrohan loses the lead and lose second as well to Kane Ryder, who's going to follow through. Ryder was really challenging Jackson Rihanna on the way towards turn 7 in the last lap, but wasn't able to challenge him enough, and now he's through to the lead as Rihanna. Meanwhile, Hilly also gets through on Daniel Ackland. It's been a good chase, actually, from 3 of those drivers behind to join the front 4. We've got a leading group of 7 now, 5 minutes in.
Yeah, this is fantastic, and this is exactly why I love Formula Ford so much. The slipstream is so strong, and it could be on for the lead again coming into the infield section, but they are all well aware that it's hard to get the pass done into that section, let alone run side by side through every other corner. So very wisely, I think, Kane Ryder decided to stick behind Jackson Riana, but very good to see that Mark Healy has managed to catch up and potentially get himself into the podium battle. They clamber all over these curbs on their way through to the end of the lap, but you hit them wrong and you will get spun around. What I saw happen at the end of lap 1 was, I believe, Riana going for a bit of a slide through the final corner, and that's what allowed him to lose the lead initially. He might lose it again here at turn 1. Ryder's got a huge launch.
Here he comes on the way towards, turn number 1. Outside line for Ryder, and thought McCrone was going to make it 3 wide there. He might have been thinking about it, but Ryder goes through pretty easily actually in the end on the outside line, and so leads this race. Further behind, this is Van Treek coming down the inside of Mitchell Albert in towards turn 1. This is another one of those groups headed by Brady McConkey at the moment in 10th place. You can just see him further up there. Then you've got Anthony Bate next in line, Alexi Watson as well, then Van Treek and Albert, who were just side by side there for a moment. So groups are starting to form everywhere, and this is going to be the case now for maybe every race this season. Certainly this race, the Formula 4s do get themselves into pretty neat groups pretty quickly. But are we about to see the front 2 get away? That's McCrone under big pressure from reigning Super Formula Lights champion Mark Healy.
Yeah, Healy tried the move on him coming into the left hook, the sort of chicane that you get after the first couple of turns, and McCrone held strong and kept him behind, but they ended up losing some time to Kane Ryder and Jackson Riana, but it hasn't taken them long to catch back up, has it?
No, absolutely. If you don't lose that much, then it seems that you can sort of bring that gap back again, but it seems to me anyway, if it goes over a second, it's almost over, although we did see those 3, of course, rejoin the back of the group earlier on as well, of course. Don't forget, again, we haven't mentioned it since the start of the race, the pit stops will be happening in the first 11 laps. It should be anyway. We're only just completed lap 5 now, so still not even halfway potentially through this opening stint of the race, but these guys wanting to continue on, and now they have continued on for 5 laps. They might well continue on for as long as they possibly can. Not sure whether they're trying to catch a virtual safety car, but generally if we don't see one through lap 1, we don't get one throughout these races, because the field spreads out a little bit more. We'll see what their strategy is though at the front of the field, as McConkey and Watson both lose a place to Bate actually. Anthony Bate goes through into the top 10 now, and it's just the 3 of them battling amongst themselves for that final spot inside the top 10 as they leave those behind battling away amongst themselves as well, like Van Treek and Albert, who have lost a bit of time.
Yeah, this is where you're going to see drivers really setting up how the rest of their race is going to go. If they've got clear air ahead of them, they want help from the drivers behind. Maybe trade spots a bit in the slipstream down the straight. That's the best way to make up time in these cars. Got to make sure that you've got your apex speed right in this section, though. Otherwise, it's not going to be worth much. But the teammates are working nicely together. We should see some nice tandem drafting between them. Up the front, it looks like Jackson Riana has had another little snap through Hogpen, and that's going to give up the position to the other one of our Team Max Boost cars here. McCrone going to go for second place across the line, but gets pushed onto the grass just a little bit. He's on the racing line, but later on the brakes as Jackson Riana has to delay the turn in a little, and now here comes Mark Healy.
Yeah, he had 2 goes at that, McCrone, and that means Mark Healy can get alongside. Can he get through maybe? Not quite just yet as they come into this double left-hander. Just sort of want to make it into one smooth curve on the outside for Healy. He'll still be on the outside into the next turn. This is where it gets so tricky, and he's not going to be able to do it on the outside line. McCrone stays ahead and keeps 3rd place for now, but that was the biggest challenge he's come under from Mark Healy just yet after that slight mistake at turn 1. Here comes Healy again though. He's not going to give up just yet. Inside line into turn 7. He brakes late enough and he goes through. So Healy, it had been coming. He'd been putting the pressure on for all of that lap, and now finally he is through into 3rd position.
Yeah, very nicely done from Mark Healy. Meanwhile, Ben Ryder, oh dear, not doing as well as his relatives further up the front of the field. Looks like he might have caught the grass on the way into NASCAR Ben there. Very close avoiding action, having to be taken by another one of the drivers there. Joshua Van Treek, meanwhile, this is a spin that he had. Contact from behind. Not sure who that was specifically, but not going too well for the Pace Syndicate driver there. Meanwhile, looks like the Max Boost cars at the front have come in. Daniel McCrowan and Vaughn Ryder touring through the pits.
Yeah, and Kane Riders in there as well. So lots of Max Boost entries in the pit lane at the moment. But the key for them is going to be, are they going to be in traffic? Because these guys won't be. Rihanna, Hilly and Ackland will be able to run on their own now. Well, not on their own, they're together, but they're not in traffic with some of the others that the others might be. See how far they fall down. Some pretty long pit lane here. It looks like they are losing a lot of time. And it's going to be a relatively long stop itself as well. As all the pit stops go up towards 20 seconds actually for these guys. 18.8 is the shortest for Daniel McCrowan, but Kane Ryder's still in front. Vaughn Ryder's just a little bit further behind his teammates, so won't necessarily be with those guys, but thankfully for them, the pit stop is so long, they're actually not in traffic, although they are all the way down in 24th, 25th.
Yeah, these cars typically don't refuel during races, so it takes a long time for them to actually get more fuel in the car in the sim. So, yeah, I think it's a blessing in disguise, really, for the leaders. They actually have come up on traffic pretty quickly, though, having said that. Patrick Savina and Ash Williams are the first drivers they're going to come up on, only a few seconds ahead. And meanwhile, we have Hawkins and McLaughlin fighting over 20th place. Dennis versus Hugh here for the last position in the top 20. Seeing that more drivers are making their way to the pits this time, we've got Rihanna and Healy who have decided to take their pit stop. See where this puts them in relative to the Max Boost trio.
Yeah, side by side, meantime, for second place between Michael Scott and Scott Bartine. Confusing. Around the outside for Bartine, and he stays ahead in second place. And there you go, confirms it in towards NASCAR Ben. Yeah, as you mentioned, such a long time to refill. They only need 10 litres or so. Patrick Savina, who started from the very back, I think he actually might have been the last starter in this race, goes for a spin a little bit further down. Savina's currently 25th, although yet to make a stop, and he's actually in amongst those who have made stops so far. Rihanna only spends 16 seconds in the pit lane, whereas Mark Hilly has made an error, whether he's sped in pit lane or he's miscalculated his fuel or whether he's accidentally not unchecked tyres. I don't know what he's done, but his pit stop is taking an age. 45 seconds, it continues to go on.
Yeah, and it's now gone beyond what it would be if it was speeding into the pits penalty, so I'm not sure what's gone on there for Mark Healy. Very bizarre error, if it even was an error. I went to check back on his entry into the pits, and he was on the limiter well before the cones. He's finally gotten his pit stop complete, and that is going to put him probably close to a lap down at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be a long way back. He won't be a feature for this race lead anymore, unfortunately for him. So yeah, that's a shame for Mark Healy. As more pit stops, Cesario comes into pit lane as well from the midfield. This is Joshua Van Treek and Marcus Knitska side by side for 10th mid-time between Donoghue and Jackie Chung. Donoghue's on the inside line and stays in 10th position. For the moment, again, these guys have not stopped yet. Neither have any of the top 17 in this race. We're on lap 10 though, and they should only be able to really go 11 laps. So we're expecting that in the next few moments the pit lane is going to be very, very busy indeed. But since he's in the clear area at the front, Daniel Ackland will try and use that now to get ahead of some of his rivals who have been in already, especially Jackson Rihanna, who's out ahead of Ryder and McCrowan. And if he has got enough fuel, because he was a few seconds shorter than the rest, but if he has got enough fuel, then he will be leading this race pretty comfortably.
Yeah, good run through the pits if that is indeed the case. I think it's a double-edged sword for Ackland though. Yes, he has clear air and he's able to hit his marks nicely, but he doesn't have anyone in front of him to provide slipstream. Everyone who's just pitted will be in traffic and being able to take advantage of the slipstream down the front straight, so they will have a slight speed advantage. Meanwhile, race control giving car 394. Jackie Chung a 10-second post-race penalty for evidently some kind of rules infraction there, potentially contact. It actually looks like Jackie Chung was the driver who made contact with Joshua Van Treek earlier, so I think that might be the reason for that.
Yeah, maybe. The race control, of course, will be looking through everything. As the race is going on, live race control, excuse me, of course, in this series, as we have for all the Formula Drivers League series. Rihanna gets ahead of everybody who pitted in last time round, and that is a lot of drivers. Angus Milne, the first of them, leaving pit lane at the moment, just behind Ryder and McCrone, and Vorm Ryder will be right with him. There are the two teammates, only just over a second behind Jackson Rihanna. It looks like they're going to be able to bring him back on terms here, Rihanna, and maybe sort of get back into a bit more of a group like what we saw earlier on for the lead. But again, we're not sure where Daniel Ackland's actually going to slot into this yet either.
Yeah, not sure at all. We're still waiting on pit stops from the top 8. We've had Ash Williams, Dennis Hawkins, Patrick Savina and Danny Davison come in for their required pit stops. And, well, there's race control's reasoning there. And no overlap on car 032, which is indeed Joshua Van Treek. In comes Ackland, meanwhile, and he's taken Scott Bartine, Michael Scott, Brody McConkie and Anthony Bate with him. So it looks like we're going to be seeing the last pit stops on this lap. Just waiting on Tristan McLaren to make his way into the lane, and I'm sure that's exactly what he's going to do. So keep an eye on this top 3. Those Max Boost teammates have been working together well to keep themselves very close to Jackson Rihanna, and in comes Tristan McLaren there. So the field is cleansed. Everyone's taken their pit stop just in time for the leaders to come across the crest.
And there they are, Rihanna leading them about, and where's Ackland going to be? Just leaves already, but obviously he's got to get up to speed. How close is he going to be? Yep, he's going to be right in this group, so it should be 4 for the lead again, although the names of course are changing all the time. Rihanna will lead, and it came Ryder, then Daniel McCrone, then Daniel Ackland in 4th place. Bartine and Scott then for 5th, and Vorm Ryder, Angus Milne for 7th. A little bit further behind as well, but that's some pretty big gaps actually outside of the top 4. The gaps are a little bit too big now, I think. Worth remembering though, as you mentioned earlier on, that the virtual safety car will be thrown at 20 minutes into this one, so they will all get back into the game again after that, and track position is the only thing that we can really comment on for the moment. Rihanna's got the most of that because he's leading this race, but forget about the gaps because they will disappear.
They certainly will. It'll be a basic reset to 0 for everyone else. Meanwhile, Chung right in the midst of a fight here with Loretti and Donoghue, and this fight for 13th is going tooth and nail for the moment. And Tom Donoghue and Jackie Chung, 2 of the hardest chargers in this field, they are both up 9 positions apiece, which is net equal with Brody McConkie and Tristan McLaren for most positions gained in this race. It's been a solid run for them. Let's hope they maintain it.
Big move forward actually for Donoghue in this race, up 9 places so far. It's the same as Brody McConkie, a little bit further up the field in 9th place, has also gained at 9. Jackie Chung has gained 9 as well, as has Tristan McLaren. That's those are your biggest movers so far, all with 9. As Vorm Ryder looks down the inside of Angus Milne here in towards turn number 1, and should be through, although Milne still with that overlap on the way towards NASCAR Bend, and holds the inside line and gets back through again into 7th position. So this will continue on. Milne just keeping that track position for the moment, and I guess it allows these guys to battle a little bit more in these next few moments. Now they know the gaps are going to come back. It's all about track position. You're not going to worry about the time you lose in a battle anymore, because you know that that's going to be wiped away very soon.
Oh, Patrick Savina. I was wondering where that smoke was coming from. It looks like Patrick's had a really big off coming into the S's there, and oh my God, more's going on there. That's McLaren. That's gone for a spin coming into NASCAR Bend. Just about in time for the VSC to come out. This has been a pretty crazy race for a lot of these drivers. It seems like now that they're getting used to a slightly heavier fuel load again, they're starting to fall off. Hugh McLaughlin and Matt Morris side by side on the way in, and there's the 20-minute mark. Virtual safety car has been called, Ewan, and I think Matt Morris just got that move done in time.
Yeah, that's always the argument as well, isn't it? That what's gone on there with the track position and who's ahead at the line and whatever. So on the lead lap, there will still be 31 drivers, which are all going to now get in behind Rihanna, who, as you can see, becomes the virtual safety car. So just to explain how this is different to the previous safety car that we had before, it is, functionally the same, I guess, but effectively Jackson Rihanna in this situation becomes a safety car, and they don't have to come round to the front straight to be picked up by a safety car. It's obviously been announced, and Rihanna now slows the field right down. They are allowed when the pit stops are allowed, when the virtual safety car is deployed, but you won't need to take one because race control have ensured that it won't affect the race today, as it's effectively just being tested out. The leader will effectively hold 80 kilometres an hour from this point, and we'll wait for the field to catch back up again to the back end of the field. It might take a couple of laps for them to reach the back of the snake, and then they'll be able to go again as they come round to the front straight. Just allows for a bit of a quicker slowing of the field, if at all possible. And it's going to be a very, very busy restart because there won't be many minutes left, and everybody will be back in contention.
Yeah, it certainly will, and you see especially up the front, they are wasting no time getting those tyres scrubbed and maintaining temperature. It's actually a pretty cool track out there today, 28 degrees Celsius, which isn't the coldest nor the hottest I've ever seen, but it should be right on the money for some good grip once those tyres are up to temp. Of course, these being treaded tyres, they may very well lose their heat if they're just trundling around the circuit for some time, so they want to try and keep that heat in the tyres, and for most drivers scrubbing is the best way, though I think there's a bit of a debate on how much that actually does. Regardless, it's good to know that your hardware's still working and your wheels calibrated.
Well, exactly, yeah. They've stopped a bit now because it's one of the wave around zones around this circuit. I think there's only one driver a lap down anyway at the moment. Two wave around zones, by the way, out of the final corner towards the start-finish line, and then out of turn 6 as well. Is that somebody driving down the inside here, or is that somebody who's confused?
That's Savina. That's the lap-down car.
So, there was only one lap-down driver, and so only one driver to come through. They all stay single file just while that happens, and then the vigorous weaving may well begin again. But testament to these drivers, really, that all 32 that started, bar one, are still on the lead lap, still in contention after 20 minutes of racing, which is a little bit unusual. Normally somebody would have crashed out by this point, or crashed into each other, whatever. But no, everybody's still in the game and still in contention, apart from one who's just got the wave around now.
Yeah, it's the attrition rate has been quite good for the first round of a recruitment series in the Formula Ford. I honestly expected there to be a bit more carnage on the opening laps and a few more drivers out by this point. But fair play to everyone; they have managed to keep it clean and make this work, and still be able to run this late on. When we get back to green flag racing, it looks like a lap of about 2 minutes and 10 seconds or so under VSC conditions. I reckon we should be getting this race going again with about 5 minutes to go. The VSC will be ending this lap. We'll see how many still remain at the actual checkered flag, Ewan, but for the moment it is Max Boost versus Jackson Rihanna at the front of this field, and Rihanna's proved a bit of a tough customer, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to be easy for those teammates, even though they're outnumbering in fact everybody around them at the moment. They are not going to be easy customers to overtake, even as teammates. Rihanna doesn't have control of the field just yet. Race control will tell him when he does, but just as he comes out of this chicane here and out of turn 11, he should be given control at some point down this little short straight now. We'll see how long he leaves it. To be honest, if I was the leader in this situation, I'd leave it as long as possible, because you don't want to be drafted on all the way up towards turn number 1 here, and that would happen if he went immediately. But he is in control. He can go any time, and is and now he's going to go, so maybe a little bit earlier than expected, and maybe Kane Ryder was caught off guard, because immediately that gap jumps out to 0.6 of a second, and they're crawling all over each other in the background already as well as they cross the start-finish line here. Tristan McLaren pits in to stay out of everybody's way in towards turn number 1. Rihanna's going to lead pretty comfortably. The battles will be further behind, side by side between Anthony Bate, I think, and Mitchell Albert a little bit further back in the pack. McConkey and Bate, actually it is side by side. McConkey looking to move and stay in 9th position, and that's the first bit of side by side really. McConkey on the inside will stay in 9th place at the very least, and the front 8 all stay single file.
Yeah, McConkey was sent a bit wide by Vaughan Ryder. Oh my God, huge crash at the back. That's involved a few guys. Looks like Van Treek being one of them in the Pace Syndicate car. Hugh McLaughlin. And it looks like Matt Tesoriero as well, unfortunately, all involved in a little bit of a run-in in NASCAR Bend. So that might be worth a replay a bit later on. For now, car 909 is making his way up through the ranks there. Scott Bartine, he's had a really good run through the pit cycle. On race pace alone, he has made his way into that top 5 in that very rusty looking machine. But for the moment, the 39 of Angus Milne is on the outside looking into that battle side by side behind, and that's Anthony Bates, Brody McConkey and Vaughan Ryder side by side into Hogpen, and this looks like it might be a move here, Ewan.
Yeah, McConkey through on the inside line on Vaughan Ryder, who's sort of stuck on the outside. Anthony Bate coming through as well here. Oh, is he going to be able to squeeze in? I think Vaughan Ryder was going to try and shut the door there, but couldn't do it. Side by side, meantime, for the lead as well. Oh, and one that's blinking, that's not helpful. But in towards turn number 1, it's all happening at the moment. Rihanna versus Kane Ryder for the very lead of the race. Scott versus Bartine as well for 5th position, allowing the front 4 to get away. Rihanna defends the inside into NASCAR Bend, and Kane Ryder just slots into that 2nd place, and Daniel McCrone and Daniel Ackland as well, who are all in the line. Still 3 laps to go, by the way, as they cross the line there was more than 3 minutes to go, so it will be 3 laps including this one.
Yeah, certainly will. This is real crunch time hours at the moment, and things got a bit tense up the front. Rihanna and Ryder, Kane that is, made contact in the first hairpin, and they were sent wide. It was almost disastrous between them. We're going to have another look at what happened in a NASCAR Bend here. Hugh McLaughlin getting up the inside of the yellow number 25 there. It was Matt Tesoriero, and that's what triggered all of that mess at the back of the field on the restart, but they've all managed to get back going again, at least it seems so. Meanwhile, our top 4 once again, Kane Ryder pressuring the back of Jackson Rihanna, as he has pretty much all race long, and Rihanna nailed the run through Hogpen that time. No sliding wide there, but plenty of slipstreaming to go here. Scott Pocock, meanwhile, is that's certainly a profile picture, unfortunately finding the barrier.
Sorry, I just burst out laughing there. I shouldn't really, but there you go. That did make me laugh. Rihanna versus Kane Ryder, meantime, for the lead of the race. Rihanna was behind, his nose behind Ryder's on the way towards turn 1 that time, and on the penultimate lap, Kane Ryder looks like he's taken the lead of this race. Now, it all seems to be happening on the way towards turn number 1, although there is a good run at the final corner as well for you to have a go before the actual start-finish line. But I wonder whether this the real scrap is going to be who's first coming out of turn 1. Definitely doesn't guarantee you the win, but it does give you a great position. With 1 lap to go, they'll see the white flag next time by.
Yeah, I think the exit of the final corner is just as important as well, because I've seen races decided here by thousandths of a second at the finish line because of the slipstream that gets picked up. They're all battling behind, aren't they? Bartine has fallen behind Michael Scott there for P5, and Brody McConkey and Angus Milne trying to sort themselves out there. I thought Milne was thinking about getting a move done up the inside, wasn't quite able to do it, but they'll sort themselves out into single file again, or will they? Couple of cars going side by side into Hogpen. The leaders coming out of the final corner now, and it seems that Kane Ryder has a good gap over Jackson Rihanna, but look at this from the onboard, you, and how strong this slipstream is.
Final lap of the race, final time towards turn number 1. Rihanna was nowhere near at the start-finish line, and he might be thinking, I've got to go through now or never. Oh, he's wide, he's very wide, and that's going to allow McCrone through. Is it going to be a max boost 1-2 maybe? It will certainly allow Kane Ryder to scamper away with this race lead if this battle continues here. Inside, oh, and a bit of a slide from McCrone as well, who gets into the grass slightly there. Rihanna still on the inside as he comes to 4, and he's on the outside for the next 2 right-handers. Oh, and he shuts the door. McCrone, max boost 1 and 2 on this last lap of the race.
And that has benefited Kane Ryder massively, that little bit of side-by-side. McCrohan did a good job of keeping Jackson Rihanna behind him, and he goes defensive into the infield as well. That's going to block Rihanna's run, and he'll have to settle for third if he doesn't play his cards right here. Spin behind, that's Michael Scott that's gone round. One more bit of drama to end this race, but for the moment it looks like it's all in Kane Ryder's hands. One desperate maneuver maybe for Jackson Rihanna. We'll have to wait and see. Can Ackland get onto the podium and take advantage of this madness?
He's got to get a very good run at the final corner because he's not that close as they come through. Oh, Rihanna's made a mistake, and maybe he will after all. Dan Ackland's going to get the run after all and maybe get on the podium as he switches to the inside. Meantime, Kane Ryder's going to win round 1 of the Everything Simulated Recruitment Series here in the Formula Fords. It's side by side for third. Oh, and Rihanna does just about hold on to a podium. I thought he was finished as he made his way out the final corner there. Dan Ackland couldn't quite get onto the podium. 5 thousandths of a second away from it in the end, but it's Team Max Boost who take the honours on day 1 because it's 1 and 2. Kane Ryder, Daniel McCrohan, both getting the result that they wanted. First and second. That was very well coordinated between the teammates, and a great finish between the front 4 as well on that final restart.
Yeah, it was hard racing, but it was clean. Have a look at this, meanwhile, for Jackson Rihanna and Dan Ackland. This is that 5 thousandths of a second you were talking about, Ewan. It's obviously going to come eventually. We just got to wait for the cars to come by. But, man, I've seen finishes like this many times at VIR. There's our leader. There's second place. And right there, barely anything in it. You could put a napkin between those two.
I mean, you'd not be able to tell that with the naked eye, that's for sure. That was super, super close. Oh dear, it's close as well, but that was 6th place. Brody McConkey, again, making so many places. 12 places in the end. That restart very much, and if we continue with this format, by the way, a VSC quite late on, that's going to suit McConkey very well, because he's very good at these starts and restarts. So moves up to 6th place, and only just in front of Angus Milne. That's the other close photo finish that you saw on the screen. Alexei Watson and Marcus Knitschke, by the way, were even closer apparently. Only thousandths of a second separating them, whereas there was at least a 100th between Rihanna and Ackland, at least according to my timing. So yeah, that was all very close further down the field. But let's have a look at the race results. It's Kane Ryder who wins by half a second in the end ahead of Daniel McCrohan in a max boost 1-2. Jackson Rihanna just about sees off Dan Ackland for 3rd place, with Scott Bartime rounding out the top 5. Brody McConkey made 12 places to get to 6th in the end. Ahead of Angus Milne, Natalie Bate, Vaughan Ryder and Mitchell Albert rounding out the top 10. Jackie Chung also gained 12 places in that race and moved up to 11th. Alexei Watson was next to the Marcus Klitschke. There you can see those two 4 thousandths of a second between them in another photo finish. Mark Kinley regained 14th at least, but that long stop really killed him in the end. Matt Morris was 15th, headed Tom Donoghue. Henry Zimmerman, the first driver, over 10 seconds back in 17th. That shows you how close it was. Adrian Loretti, Todd Parks, Ash Williams round out the top 20. Bradley Sinney was 21st ahead of Michael Scott, who dropped quite a long way down, unfortunately, compared to where he was running. We saw his spin late on. Joshua Van Treek finished 23rd ahead of Dennis Hawkins. Tristan McLaren, who was 25th. Hugh McLaughlin was 26th ahead of Matt Terzareo, with Patrick Savina, the guy who got the wave around, getting to 28th in the end. Chris Swadling and Scott Pocock dropping below him. Pocock actually a lap down in the end. Ben Ryder 4 down, so was Danny Davison. So they must have stopped pretty much immediately on the restart there, unfortunately for them. But let's have a chat to those podium drivers, shall we? Starting with Kane Ryder, who has won the first round of the Formula Ford Recruitment Series tonight. Kane, congratulations on that race win tonight. A crazy restart, a great finish. Tell us about those final 4 laps and how you were able to take the lead.
Well, for a start, I thought Jackson was going to run out of petrol, but apparently he did his maths better than me. But no, I thought he'd do a late jump, so he got me there at the start, and he just fought like hell on turn 1, and I knew that, look, if I was to win it, I had to get him there, and thankfully on the second last lap, I think it was, I got him around the outside there, but she was pretty close.
How much of a role was the teamwork as well? It was notable that Team Max Boost had 2 drivers up towards the front, and the other 2 were sort of, well, most of the others actually, even when the group was bigger, were fighting on their own as well. How much of a help was it to have your teammate there, and how pleased are you that you're able to come home with the 1-2 as well tonight?
Yeah, look, it was a sigh of relief when I saw Dan skip up the inside of him as well, so I knew I kind of had it then. So I just tried to keep Dan within a decent tow, so he had no chance down the straight. And but yeah, it's a big help having your teammate there that you can rely on to do, race for you as well. You know what I mean? So the other guys didn't have that, so it was a good advantage.
Well, congratulations on using that to take the race win at VAR tonight, and thanks for coming to chat to us at the end of the race as well.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kane Ryder, winning our race tonight here at Virginia International Raceway. Kane, of course, 3rd place in the F4 Championship this season. Might be going for the recruitment series over the course of the next 4 weeks as well. We'll see how he goes as we can now bring in Danny McCrowan as well, finished 2nd place here tonight. Dan, welcome in. Good to have you with us, and congrats on finishing in 2nd place in the end. It was a last lap pass on Jackson for that 2nd place. Just tell us about that pass and how you were able to finish there tonight.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I'd noticed that he was going pretty deep into turn 1 the last few laps to hold Kane off, so I thought, well, this is my last opportunity to get up in there. So yeah, I managed to do it, and then just talking to Jackson the last few corners after that, we managed to get through unscathed. So no, it was really good.
Yeah, and good racing between these cars as well. Just what were you sort of expecting from tonight in terms of how close this field would stay? Because VAR's a twisty circuit, but these cars are seemingly able to stay close pretty much anywhere in the world.
Yeah, well, in all the practice we've been doing, if you were, anywhere within 2 or 3 tenths going down that straight, you were still in the fight type of thing. So yeah, we knew it would be close all night, so that's why we threw in the early pit stop to try and break that tow. But Jackson was really good in the pits, so it's something we have to look at.
Absolutely. More calculations to be done for next week, but for now, Dan, congratulations on 2nd, and thanks for coming to chat to us at the end as well.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Danny McCrowan, finishing 2nd place here tonight, just getting past Jackson Rihanna on the last lap, and we can chat to Jackson now as well. Jackson, welcome in. Good to have you with us. 3rd place for yourself tonight. Are you a bit relieved that it is even a podium at the end? Because I've got to admit, I thought you were going to lose it on the run to the line. What were you imagining on that way towards the end of the race?
Thanks for having me again, boys. Look, it was last lap. Kane had the track position, so I had to have a dip, and put me into the jaws of the other guys, unfortunately. So I went from all-out attack to all-out defence on that last lap. So as you can see there, that's pretty tight. But thankful to get the podium. Thankful, cool to be running a different car with the FDL crew. I don't usually run Formula Fords very often, but I love driving them. The racecraft is good, as you just saw. Like the actual racing product is awesome. So yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, and obviously this is off the back of a Super Formula Light season where you were so close to winning the title as well. Are you imagining you're going to be up there with the others throughout all of this season, or is this just a bit of fun for you in each race?
Look, I think Kane and the Max Boost boys are going to be very, very tough to beat. Like as you saw tonight. They put up a fabulous fight. Good 1-2 for them to start the season. It'll definitely be tricky to beat them, especially when you haven't got a teammate or we might try and get a teammate in for at least a couple of rounds. But it'll be good to hopefully have another couple of races like that against those guys, and maybe we can get one up on them and try and stay in the title fight.
One way you did get a leg up on them here today was a bit of a shorter pit stop time compared to the others. I think it was maybe 3 seconds shorter at some point. Did you sort of calculate this because you knew that the virtual safety car was going to be coming out and maybe they didn't? How would you imagine that gap was created where you were the net race leader for some time?
Yeah, I think it's like 2 seconds a litre. So even putting in one less litre, which is I think what I did over the other two cars, means a much quicker stop. And I think my pit entry was quite good too. Like I really maximised that. I didn't really want to go too much faster on the way in there. So yeah, I think it was just a really good pit stop. And taking the 1 litre less than they did, I think definitely would have helped. But we all still end up with too much fuel in the end anyway. So definitely got to go back to the drawing board and hopefully make it an even shorter pit stop next week.
Yeah, maybe everyone will have it figured out by the end, but that's always the way. But for now, Jackson, congratulations on finishing on the podium in the first race tonight, and thanks for coming to chat to us at the end as well.
Thank you very much for having me, guys. Thank you.
Thanks so much. That's Jackson Miana in third place here tonight. Goodness me, 2 seconds for 1 litre. It's very slow, isn't it? I'm almost imagining a man with a water bottle with fuel inside of it, just pouring it in because it's so slow. But anyway, that's these Formula Fords, and it does create some very, very interesting strategy as we have just seen. But that's just about it for round 1, Reece. I mean, this is one of the twistier circuits we're going to have throughout this season. In fact, this is sort of similar to what we're going to have all season long. Next week at Summit Point, there's going to be a huge long front straight as well, even longer front straight than what we have here at VIR. So it's going to be the same very close and slightly draft heavy racing in these Formula Fords, as I'm sure we're going to get all throughout September.
Yeah, long straight, hard braking zone for turn 1 and some twisty S's up the back with that iconic downhill braking zone that every road iRacer should be familiar with. Summit Point's going to be fantastic, and reminder to everyone, all the way through September this championship is running. For round 3 on the 16th of September, we're going to the Foster's layout of Alton Park Circuit, and then the medium layout of Navarra to round out the series on the 23rd. It's going to be a fun championship if this round was anything to go by.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly will. But that's just about it from us here tonight. Hope you've enjoyed the first round of the Everything Simulated Formula Ford Recruitment Series here this season. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside Reece Gardner with Jared Cole behind the cameras. Big thanks to everyone who's been tuned in. We'll hopefully see you again next week. Goodbye for now.